hits all the time.
We are family.
Max Scherzer, double-digit Ks.
We're busting ours. Kick yours.
Fun to watch.
Minus 15.
Respect all, fear none.
Into the upper deck.
Intensity is not a curfew.
Oh, mercy.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And just like that, another season is in the books. Welcome into MASN All Access, the final MASN All Access of the 2019 regular season. I'm your host, Paul Mancano. Don't worry, we will be around all offseason, but for now, it's time to recap the 2019 season that ended yesterday with a 5-4 loss to the Boston Red Sox. But the Orioles did take the last series of the season. That last game featured a pretty amazing catch from Stevie Wilkerson out in right field. Well, it was the first season under new executive VP and general manager Mike Elias, and also the first season under new manager Brandon Hyde. Before the season, Hyde acknowledged it was going to be an uphill battle going up against some very tough opponents in the American League East, a division that featured the world champion Boston Red Sox, the New York Yankees, who had won 100 games the season before, and even the Tampa Bay Rays, who had won 90 the season before. And here's how it all shook out. Take a look at the final standings for the 2019 American League East. The Yankees, they clinched the division back on September 20th. The Rays, with 96 wins, they're a wild card team. Their first postseason appearance since 2013. Red Sox, tough year for them. They missed the playoffs a year after setting the franchise record with 108 wins. The Blue Jays, despite having some promising youngsters, they had their worst record since the 1980 season. The Orioles finishing with a better record than they finished in 2018. But that's not the only improvement that they made since the 2018 season. They made several improvements, not just down on the farm system, where the O's talent rankings jumped into the top 10 in baseball, according to Baseball America and many other outlets. They also signed more than 20 free agents on the international market back in July. And as Mike Elias said, those are no small improvements.
We've got a lot of areas to get better, and I think that's no secret. But this is, overall, we sit back and look at what happened around the organization this year, and I think it was just a very positive year. A lot accomplished across the organization. When we came in here, the big league team had the worst record in the league last year. The farm system was ranked in the 20s and sometimes the low 20s across the board, depending on where you were reading. We had no real international scouting function. We had a minimalist analytics group, and all of that's changed. We've gotten our program going internationally. We're signing players. We're competing for players out there. We're building a terrific analytics staff. The farm system's taken a huge jump this year. Some of that obviously was the draft with the number 1 pick, but I would argue most of it was what happened with the players that were already in the system, some player development improvements that we made, the changes, and the steps forward that the group took. And then here at the big league level, look, we're still losing games way more than we want to. This is not fun. It's not easy to crawl out of, but almost all of the players that were on the team last year got better this year, had better seasons. I think this team has played its butt off all year. It's battled. I think we can all go into the individual success stories, but, Means, Santander, Severino, Mancini having a huge year. There's too many to go through right now. Alberto. So obviously, not everything goes perfectly in a season, in a baseball season, but I think the positives this year way outweigh the negatives, and our organization is positioned so much better for the future, than it was this time last year.
Despite the final record, this Orioles season had plenty of great moments along the way. A walk-off win over the Astros, a 16-inning win on the West Coast over the Angels. But don't take it from me. Hear from the Orioles players themselves, talking about their favorite moments of the 2019 season.
Favorite moment of the year?
I'll have to say the opening series versus the Yankees.
I have to say opening day.
Definitely opening day in Yankee Stadium.
I got my season debut in the 3rd game.
It's my first year breaking with the team.
I've been working towards getting to the big leagues my whole life.
I got my first ever win that series too.
Something really special.
To be able to experience Yankee Stadium with my family and this amazing team is something special.
In the air, center field, that ball's way back, goodbye, home run!
Hitting that grand slam here in front of my dad when they were here. That was a pretty funny moment.
And Dad is celebrating in the seats.
He was just pumped up, and I remember that from my first grand slam.
Left field, that ball's got a chance, back it goes, and that ball is gone. Hanser Alberto goes deep, his first as an Oriole.
I think I take like almost 3 years to hit one in big league. But, that was my favorite moment during the season.
It's definitely getting called back up to the big leagues. You work so hard throughout the year, and for that to be rewarded and get to come back up here.
And he gets a base hit his first at bat.
Having 3 hits was a special night for me, so that would be my highlight of this season so far.
My favorite moment of the year was Rio Ruiz's walk-off home run against the Astros.
That'll be Rio Ruiz. He did a homer and lead us to that win.
Way back, and the Orioles are going to walk it off. Ruiz comes through.
It was our first and only walk-off of the year.
I mean, everybody was crazy. Everybody was so happy.
And I think you can see the pictures of me. I was pretty pumped. And Rio's reaction, too, after he hit the home run was just awesome. So that was definitely my favorite moment of the year.
I think that's got to be one of my favorite moments for this year.
It's a walk-off, especially in the show, man. I mean, it's tough to beat.
I think we can all look in the mirror and say that we played hard and played together and played as a unit. And I think going forward, that's really important, and hopefully we can build on that. But, yeah, I think that game kind of really encapsulates the spirit of this team.
Well, it was a spectacular year for the Orioles farm system. The O's jumped all the way from 22nd to 8th in Baseball America's organizational talent rankings in about 6 months. 4 affiliates had winning records: the Gulf Coast League Orioles, the Aberdeen Ironbirds, the Bowie Bay Sox, and the Delmarva Shorebirds. Bowie and Delmarva, they made the playoffs, while the GCL Orioles would have if the season weren't cut short. 4 prospects in MLB.com's top 100 appeared: Adley Rutschman, Grayson Rodriguez, D.L. Hall, and Ryan Mountcastle. Yosniel Diaz appears on the Baseball America's top 100. The Orioles have the second overall pick in June's draft, just 1 pick later than the pick they had in the 2019 draft. So that farm system that produced so many great results could be getting a whole lot better in just a few months. And several of these minor leaguers were honored at Oriole Park at Camden Yards just about a week ago. Mike Baumann and Grayson Rodriguez, those were your 2 Jim Palmer minor league co-pitchers of the year. Baumann began the year at Frederick. He moved to Bowie in June. He tossed a no-hitter against the Harrisburg Senators in July, and he finished with a combined 2.98 ERA for the season. Grayson Rodriguez, on the other hand, 2.68 ERA in his first season with the Delmarva Shorebirds, over 12 Ks per 9, and only gave up 4 homers all year long. Ryan Mountcastle, you heard about him all year long, just 22 years old. He was the Brooks Robinson Minor League Player of the Year, also the International League MVP. He hit .312 with 25 homers while playing 3 different positions: first base, third base, and left field. An absolutely spectacular year for the entire Orioles farm system, and these 3 in particular. Take a listen to some of what they had to say when they were honored in Baltimore a week ago.
We had a terrific year in the farm system, in the minor leagues, maybe even beyond what I might have hoped for. I mean, the energy level throughout the year was palpable. I think it resulted in some wins and some playoff runs by some of our teams, and some really historic seasons for the franchises. You got the 90 wins in Delmarva. You've got Delmarva and Aberdeen setting, actually both franchises setting wins and strikeout records, and there's just a lot of good things going on. Our big prospects, for the most part, all took steps forward. The pitching side in particular, we had more guys with 100 strikeouts on the season than I could even count. I think it was a tremendous success, and that's why we're honoring the players and the coaches here for the work that they put in. And really, there were more people. It was actually a tough choice picking the award winners this year.
I'm very happy with it. Our goal coming into the year was just to get better each and every day. Results were something that would come second. At the beginning of the year, it was all about just getting better each and every day. And, the results, they were there in the end, and I'm pretty happy with it.
What do you kind of set as goals that you want to get better at next year?
I guess just overall pitching. It's just something that can always get better. Off speed, whether it be the changeup, newly acquired pitch I started throwing this year. Just going and perfecting that and being able to come out and throw more strikes.
I think the biggest thing was just with my consistency, cleaning some stuff with my delivery and also, polishing up some secondary pitches and command.
How would you describe your season as the minor league player of the year? How do you think it went?
I think it went pretty good. I mean, my off-season training and everything that went into it definitely paid off at the end for sure.
Well, the offseason officially begins today, but what offseason? We'll be here all offseason, and there's plenty to keep your eye on before we get to February. The World Series, that begins on October 22nd. Obviously, the participants yet to be determined. Free agency begins a little bit more than a week after that. Winter meetings, they're at the Hilton San Diego Bayfront from December 9th through December 12th. A lot going on the West Coast. The Hall of Fame voting results are announced on January 21st. And then the magical words, pitchers and catchers report to Sarasota, Florida on February 11th, 2020. And spring training games begin just 10 days after that. So plenty to keep your eye on as the offseason goes along. Before we get out of here, I do want to remind you about our podcast, which will be going on all offseason as well. Myself and Bobby Blanco were the two hosts. What we talked about on the most recent Orioles podcast was which position players and pitchers are keepers for 2020. Obviously, free agency is yet to be determined, but we took a look at the Orioles roster, where some guys stand, some improvements by some youngsters, and some exciting things to look forward to in 2020. You can hear our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, SoundCloud. Watch us on the MASN Orioles YouTube page and the MASN All Access Facebook page. Well, we've been doing MASN All Access for 3 seasons now, and we've been talking about doing a blooper reel every one of those seasons, but never been able to get our stuff together until now. Take a look at our blooper reel for the 2019 season.
Is it Hardy?
Yeah.
Okay.
The climb to the world... I spit. The climb to the world... I spit again.
What's up there?
We're sitting down here on MASN All Access inside the stadium and in the seats here with Yosniel Diaz and Jose Corrales, who's going to be the translator. Thank you so much for sitting down here. So...
Hey O's fans, thanks for tuning in to today's podcast. If you like what you see or hear here, head over to Sorry. This will be the last time, I promise.
3, 2, great stuff. Great stuff indeed. Before we go, I do want to say one final thing. For those of you who may not know, this is Olivia Witherite's final season at MASN. She's headed west for bigger and better things. And Olivia hired me as an intern 4 years ago, and I've never met anyone in my professional experience who works harder and who cares more than Olivia Witherite. She taught me, and many like me, everything that we know here. And her presence and puns will sorely be missed around here, and I can't wait to see what other great things await her on the horizon. So thank you, Olivia. Thank you to Bobby Blanco, our producer all season long. Thank you to our interns, Cam Hasbrook, Brendan Mortensen. Thank you to Amy Jennings and Hannah Broder. Thank you to Chris Glass. Thank you to everybody who was involved in the MASN All Access shows all season long. We truly would not be able to do all of this without you. For the final time of the 2019 regular season, and we'll see you plenty this offseason, I'm Paul Mancano. Thank you for watching MASN All Access.